Hello, my name is William, the Avid reader, and today I am reviewing Burmese Days, written by George Orwell in 1934. So this book is a great tragedy. It's George Orwell's first novel, and as far as every book I've read from Orwell, they all have a tragic ending. None of them have good endings. So before I continue, I'm going to warn spoilers since I'm going to talk about what happens on the end. So yeah, so the protagonist of the story, the main character, is John Flory. John Flory is a white worker over in who works for a British who is an Englishman who works over in Burma in the 1920s while it belonged to the British Empire, and he's quite tolerant of the Burmese there compared to Alice, who is very clearly a racist and considers all Indians, which are a large minority in Burma at that time, and all Burmese, all Asians, to be inferior to Europeans, whites. And you've got the Eurasians too, so these are sons of European missionaries with Asian mothers, Indian mothers, and they both belong to the European club in their town in Burma, and it's headed by Mr. McGregor, who's a high-ranking government official of the British Empire over there, and he's the leader of the club. And most club members, all except Flory, are racist, but the British government have started to desegregate. They've started to make the Burmese more and more equal to the English, so there is pressure from the higher ups to make an Indian or a Burmese a member of the club. And John Flory, he is friends with an Indian doctor, and the Indian doctor is Dr. Swami. And he's a good friend to him. He's maybe his only friend, you could say. And they have interesting discussions, debates with Flory is in favor of Burmese culture. He's very pessimistic towards the British Raj over in India and Burma, while Swami defends all British actions and says that the Indian and Burmese culture is inferior. And there's so the main plot of the story is that you've got this the antagonist is is a Burmese government official working for the British Empire. Kin. U signifies that he has a high-ranking position, that he works for a government. So Kin is this Burmese man, very fat. He needs help to get up, and he scams his way up the ranks. So he used to be a clerk doing illegal stuff, and then he sold out all his co-workers. He ratted them out, and he got more and more high-ranking positions into the British imperial government. And his ultimate plan is to become a member of the European club in the local European club, so he would become an effective equal to the whites. but there's one person in his way, and that is Dr. Warswamy, because Warswamy is one of the more respected colored folks, since he has a good friendship with the European Flory. So he tries to ruin Warswamy, but to ruin Warswamy, he needs to either destroy the relationship between Warswamy and Flory, which fails, or to destroy Flory's reputation, which is succeeds in. So Flory used to have this Burmese prostitute, you could say, or depends how you look at it, but got this Burmese woman, Ma La Mei. She's very materialistic. She acts like a prostitute, but Flory dislikes her more and more, and she considers herself as his Burmese wife, so she is like a European's wife. And he eventually kicks her out when he starts really liking the new European girl who has arrived in Burma, since there are few Europeans and there's barely any European girls over there. So you've got Elizabeth Lagerstein who arrives. So he gets rid of La Mei, and Upokine uses this to Ma La Mei to stir up trouble. So Ma La Mei blackmails several times Flory for money, and the thing that completely ruins him is when he's very near to get married to Lagerstein, and they've gone hunting previously. You had this whole affair with Lieutenant Veral, but he was a cold soldier who left. So Flory was the bachelor available to marry her, and they're at church, and Ma La Mei comes and starts shrieking at Flory, and this destroys Flory's relationship with Elizabeth, because Elizabeth is quite superficial, you could say. She's a very cold woman. Instance, she likes shooting, and she likes horse riding, and she wants to be around many men, but she really dislikes the Burmese, and which is one of the traits compared to Flory, who respects, tolerates Burmese people, and he even talks with Eurasians and difference. And he has Flory has this big birthmark on his face, and he tries to hide it, but it makes her Lagerstein see Elizabeth see him as disgusting more and more. And this comes to a high point at church when you've got Ma La Mei. So the two Eurasians get rid of her, Francis and Samuel get rid of her, but the relationship is destroyed between Lagerstein, between Elizabeth and Flory. And keep in mind, Elizabeth has been previously in Paris since her father died, and she had a bad mother, and she was taken advantage of by who she worked for her father who she worked for. And then she arrives in Burma, and her uncle starts making moves towards her and gets closer and closer to raping her. But she prefers all that to having a relationship with Flory, and she ends up being married later on to Mr. McGregor, who is who's a quite kind-hearted man, but he's an old man. But anyway, Flory becomes very sad, so he goes home, and you've had all this time Khosla, his devoted servant, who's taking care of him all this time, and Flory has gotten drunk time and time. He's been here for over 10 years, and he decides he wants to end it, so he brings his dog cocker spaniel inside his home. Flo, he grabs out his gun, he blows her brains out, and then he shoots himself in the chest. And Dr. Warswamy comes to help, tries to help him with the calling of what's his name again? Khosla. but he sees that it's dead, and that was the end of Verswami's potential to come into to become a member of the European club, because Flory wanted to make him a member of the European club. And previously, Flory had gained greatness by being perceived as having stopped a large riot, because the rioters wanted to probably kill this racist guy called Ellis, because Ellis had unprovoked really attacked the Burmese young youth and blinded him by hitting him on the head with a stick. And Yupokin, through Flory's suicide, now he can take down Warswami, so he does, and he discredits him, and Dr. Warswami has to move. And Yupokin achieves his dream of becoming a member of the European club, and he's moderate. He's tolerated by the other members, even Alice, because he doesn't really go there a lot. And he later becomes promoted and gets all the honors, but he's done all these conspiracies to get higher up, and he wants to redeem himself when he's old, when he retires, so he retires. And he has planned on building his pagodas for the Buddhist priests, but all of a sudden he dies of apoplexy. So now if you believe in Buddhism, he is reincarnated in hell, or as a rat or a frog. So he gets what he deserves, you could say. And Kosla, the loyal servant, he ends up he continues working for different people, but his connection to Flory causes him mischief, and Warswami is forced to be moved to a lesser rank. He was previously the doctor, now he's the assistant surgeon. And Elizabeth Lagerstein marries McGregor, and that's how the book kind of ends. So some interesting things about these books are the themes of racism, British imperialism, where the British view themselves as superior to the Burmese and that they should be more oppressed, as things have been going badly for them, I believe. And you've got these alcoholic Englishmen who drink very much. They drink in the morning. Mr. Lagerstein is alcoholic, and Flory has gotten drunk several times. It's a kind of word of despair. And you're privileged in Burma as an Englishman, but you're not supposed to say something. You're not supposed to treat other races, so-called lesser races, as equal. And you've got the thoughts in Imperial Burma. They try to control your thoughts, so they want you to accept the status quo. And if you're colored, you're guilty until proven innocent. So reputation is everything in Burma. So if you're friend with a European man, then nobody can touch you really. But if you're not, then if someone powerful enough decides, he can anonymously ruin you, as Yupokin did with Dr. Warswami. So and it's a true tragedy. It's a very old book now. It's 86 years old almost. It's George Orwell's first novel, and it's a tragedy. The ending. I would say it's the second most tragic ending I've ever read after Disgrace. But anyway, this was my review of Burmese Days. It was the Avid Reader's review of Burmese Days. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys soon.